Hey, it's Steve here from Prima Coffee, and this is what we are brewing. This month's coffee is from Devoción out of Bogota and Brooklyn, New York. This has a really interesting model that I'm going to talk about here in a second. The recipe that we are using for this is the Kalita Wave 185 model. So this is the large model. We are using about a 1 to 14.5 ratio. So that's going to be less water than you see in a lot of classic 1 to 16 ratios. But we found with that ratio, we're getting the best out of this coffee. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to rinse your filter. If you forget to do this, it's not going to be a huge issue. We do this because it helps to heat the vessel as well as rinsing that filter. After you've rinsed the filter, heated that vessel up, you can go ahead and add the coffee. We have 17 grams of coffee, and we're going to use about 250 grams of water. This is a classic brewer, so we're using a fairly classic way of pouring. We're going to pour in a bloom phase, and then we're going to do 2 main phases of 100 grams each. We're going to use about 50 grams here on that first pour. Go ahead and start the timer. Try to sort of get all of the grounds wet, 50 grams there, and then give it a little stir. What you don't want to see as you're blooming is a lot of bubbles start to come up after some time, because that probably indicates that some of the grounds are just getting wet then when the bubbles are coming up. You want to see the beds start to sort of settle and draw down a little bit, and none of those bubbles to come up, but it's all evenly saturated. We'll put the kettle on the base after every pour so that it can heat up. The water temperature is 208 degrees. After about 45 seconds, we're going to go ahead and do the first main pour of 100 grams. So the key here is just to pour not too fast, not too slow, and not too high. You want to agitate the grounds, but you don't want to see the splashing. So this will do. We'll take it up to 150. Try not to go up and down with it as well. Just try to pour at a nice sort of even height. So give it a little swirl there and let it start to draw down. So like I said, this coffee is from Devoción, which is out of Bogota and out of Brooklyn. So they have a really interesting, unique business model, and that is by having that place down in Colombia, they're able to source from farms in that area that they've built relationships with, and they're able to get the green coffee really quickly. So after the harvest and after the milling, they're getting that green coffee really quickly up to Brooklyn where they roast, and then out to the customers. So probably within 30 days, you're going to get your coffee. 30 days, of becoming green, which means after being milled and washed or processed. And this coffee here, you'll see the green date is September 6th and the roast date is September 24th. So we were drinking that within a month of the green date. One of the benefits of that is you're getting really, really fresh coffee. And with the right coffee, with the right brewing, you will be able to taste that freshness. So around 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes, we'll go ahead and pour in the final pour. So it drew down to the top of the grounds. I could see them there. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same. Going a little faster. I did not mean to. Try not to hit the walls because then the coffee may just bypass the bed of coffee. The water may bypass the bed of coffee, which is not what you want. So there's 250 grams. We go ahead and stir it up and go ahead and let it draw down. We're finding this is going to finish between 3 and 4 minutes. So the tasting notes on here are going to say cherries, berries, caramel, and some cocoa butter. But we're just finding that means it's going to be a creamy cup of coffee and it's going to be really berry forward. So this coffee is called Wild Forest. It is one of Devoción's main house blends. It is all Caturra coffee and it's blends from different farms in Colombia. So as is always the case, let taste be your guide. But with the Kalita, you can look at the coffee bed and you can tell a lot about it. So if the coffee bed is muddy, you're probably going to want to grind coarser. And if it looks like sort of drier and a bit like big pieces of mulch, you're probably going to want to grind finer. But again, taste is going to be your guide. So right there, around 4 minutes is where we came in, and we'll go ahead and give it a try. We're going to put this recipe on the website along with links out to Devoción and this particular coffee. We hope you enjoy.